Hey everybody, what's going on? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. All right, first card that we have out is Three of Pentacles reversed and Five of Cups. Three of Pentacles reversed can be that like you were trying to work something out with somebody, but it wasn't working. So it can be like, I thought that this was going to work. I thought that there was going to be like a sense of cooperation. Like that can be the expectation. However, you can feel like that's not how it went. So you can even be like, I had hopes of working something out. Five of Cups is like, it didn't go that way. So this is something that you may feel like it went the opposite way that you wanted it to go. So you could be, okay. So you could be in a spot where you're sort of reflecting on that. This is definitely something that has already happened. And you may be in a spot where you're like, how do I move on from this now? I am seeing, though, the Ace of Swords. So that means that at this point, you know what it is. Like, there's not a question about this anymore. You have clarity. There's no more guessing about what's happening here. You're seeing it very clearly, but it may be like the opposite of what it is that you wanted. And you could also feel in a sense like this was a missed opportunity, like maybe you were willing to operate within a collaboration or to work together, and you feel like the other person wasn't. And I mean, you can also be looking at this too and be like, maybe I wasn't being the most cooperative, you know, it can be like that type of thing. But whatever it is, Three of Pentacles reverse is kind of like there had been an intention to work something out, but it can feel like something disagreeable was happening and it didn't allow things to pan out in the way that you wanted it to. A decision needs to be made. I am seeing Three of Swords reversed. It feels like you can choose to focus on this thing that was and feel very focused on the past and have like a lot of your energy sort of circulating around that rather than being present, or you can choose to focus on healing and what's going to be your pursuit of happiness currently. Because the way that this is split up, like you have this thing that happened over here that didn't work out. So this is already a done thing, like it didn't pan out. And then in the middle, you have Two of Swords. So it's like, do I keep putting my attention there? And maybe you also feel like your attention is split. Like you keep thinking about this thing from the past. And then on the other side, maybe you're also focused on your healing. Focus on your healing and also things that bring you joy and happiness. I'm also hearing mood stability. So maybe you also feel like in some ways you're present and then in other ways you're not. Like sometimes your energy is sort of with you and focusing on what's ahead and what's going on, and then you may feel too dually that at times you're focused on this past situation and what had happened, that you can feel like you're at a spot where you're still having a hard time accepting this, and you can feel like that's what's delaying the healing process here. It could even feel like this is incomplete. It's not going to be complete until there's a sense of acceptance, though. Some of you could have felt like you didn't show up in the way that you wanted to as well. Maybe you also feel too like unfinished business because of that. Maybe that's also part of why you can't let this go, why you're having a hard time. Maybe you're not ready to. Maybe there's a chance for you to open this back up again, to rework something. Okay. I'm seeing you don't want to make a hasty decision 2. Let's see who else we have here. Yes. Okay, so we have Leo, we have Virgo. I'm also seeing the moon, I'm seeing Uranus, I'm seeing Pluto, and I'm seeing Saturn. So you could feel like what was meant to be accomplished, like wasn't accomplished, and you could be feeling bothered by that. Sort of like something is left unsaid, or there's a lack of closure, or like that assignment that we were supposed to work on together. I feel like we never finished that. And so it feels like you may just be sitting on this thing that you couldn't submit, you know, like working on this thing with this person. You could feel like it's incomplete, whatever it was that was supposed to happen. So maybe you're at a spot where you feel like that's why, because you're like, this is unfinished. It feels very much like unfinished business. To see 5 of Cups and to see like strength mirroring that but reversed, it can be like I'm having a really hard time getting through this. Like, I don't know if I can get through this. I don't even know if I can accept this. There can also be this feeling of like I didn't show up in the way that I wanted to. Like I think that I could have shown up better. So you may also be looking into this and reflecting on like your own behavior within this situation. Maybe feel like you could have done better. Because strength reverse can be like somebody's ego getting involved and not allowing cooperation because of that, or somebody being like self-centered or selfish. Like that can be the feeling. And as much as you may be looking at the other person and thinking that, maybe you're also seeing that within yourself too, and being like, I can show up better than that. Because maybe you feel like, you know, with strength, because it's so connected with the ego, because it's related to Leo energy, it can be that when strength is in reversed, it can be sort of like I'm the center of attention here, like I get what I want. It can be sort of a bit of a temper tantrum energy. It can be like overly dramatic, like theatrical, or it can just be you showing up in a way where you feel like maybe in some ways your nature or your ego ruled over something and you weren't practicing, I don't know, having like control over your willpower even. Like you could have just given into a situation, but in a way that at this point you could be like, I can definitely do better than that. So that may be something that you're looking into. Because strength reverse can be doing like impulsive things as well. Or just like giving into our like animalistic nature even. But then being like, well, I had no control over that. You know, it can be like a lack of accountability because of that. So you can either be looking at the other person and feeling like that, or you can be like reflecting on yourself and feeling like that. And maybe that's also why you felt like if you could go back into the opportunity with this person, maybe you feel like you would show up differently. Because something is just feeling like 3 of Pentacles reverse is like we're supposed to be cooperating and working together, but I feel like things are getting in the way of that. But it feels more so like an attitude thing. To have strength reverse be connected with this, like uncooperative, like unwilling especially. It's a lack of willingness. So needing to make a decision about this. But you could feel like something you're trying to work out with somebody, it's just like inconclusive, and you can feel upset about that, bothered by that, can't let it go. You could be feeling. But I'm also seeing you be at the spot where you're like, okay, so I have that thing going on over here. Now, when I really reflect personally, when I pull back from the situation with this person, I'm thinking about like what's going to make me happy. So I think that's also happening simultaneously. So you're sort of in this situation where things feel like they're not maybe working out how you had hoped that they would. And it definitely has to do with you like working with another person, at least one other person. I'm getting something about your intuition beginning to materialize. But you could be really keeping this to yourself. Like you could have something in mind for actually what you intend to be exploring, but you may not be saying a peep about this actually. Like you may not be open about talking about this at all. Let me clarify this. Say you're trying to work something out with someone, but things are not going well with them. And you can be like, this is not how I wanted it to go. It's feeling like we're not getting anywhere, like we're not accomplishing anything. Feels still like unfinished business, right? It feels like the decision is like, are you going to keep doing that? Or like, can you accept what's going on? Are you not in that place? Do you want to leave? Do you want to stay? Like, do you want to keep working through it? What do you want to do? So it feels like a decision needs to be made about that, but more so about like seeing things for what they are too. But part of this is that you may not be seeing your own energy totally within this. And so I also think that it's about personal accountability as well with the Strength reversed. And it can also be about you seeing like your own autonomy through this as well. And you being capable. I'm seeing Two of Swords, which can feel like it's coming time that like you need to see something, you need to understand something, you need to pick a lane or pick a path. But having Judgment reversed can feel like being too critical or being too judgmental. Because Judgment, when we have it upright, it's about really looking into something and analyzing it and breaking it down. But when Judgment is reversed, it can be like this very critical energy. It can be feeling skewed because of like some type of power play that's happening. Like you think about the shadow of Pluto. So it can be like power and control, manipulation, like not being honest, that type of stuff. And something like that could have even happened within the situation too, and that could be part of the reason. Like you could feel like you betrayed yourself or like the other person betrayed you. But now I'm seeing there be like healing that's also happening simultaneously. And that may be something where you're like, rather than focusing on how this isn't working, I'm going to actually focus more so on myself and on my healing. And you may decide that you actually need time to reflect on what's actually going to make you happy at the end of the day. Like what your pursuit of happiness looks like to you, what feeling calm and centered looks like to you, what finding like your personal peace or like connecting with that part of you feels like to you, and how you're going to do that. So that can be part of this too, where you could feel like it's sort of not going to work out with this person right now to try to be working things out with them. Because it feels like, again, at the end of the day, I'm seeing a lack of willingness here for things to work out. And so you may be like, if I stay in this, it's just going to stay being like this. So you may sort of take yourself out of this situation where it's you and this other person or you and whoever else is involved and sort of do this solo. And you may already be thinking about doing that, because you may think that you have a better chance at like happiness if you do things in that way. And you may also be thinking about communicating that with this person, but I'm seeing something that you haven't told them yet. But you feel like something isn't working. Maybe you just feel like because of I do get this feeling like you may feel like you're more willing to work with this person, and you may feel like they're not as willing to work with you, and you can feel disappointed by that. I'm getting that strongly. And maybe you feel like I can either stay within this or I can focus on like my healing over here, but maybe you feel like you can't do both simultaneously. Maybe you feel like you can't continue with your healing journey while you're participating in this, what was supposed to be a collaboration with this person, but isn't really feeling like that. I think too, there's a part of you that Like having strength reversed too, connected with Five of Cups, it can also be this feeling of like maybe even feeling like this is something that you have to remain stuck in and you can't really move past that. But you could also feel too like what you want and even the type of attention that you want as well as not being given to you by this person. And I'm seeing like you definitely had, like, I'm seeing you wanted to accomplish something with this person. Like you collaborating with this person and working with this person was the means to an end of accomplishing something. This could be of like starting a new chapter or of resolving something like that. But I'm seeing you feel like that's not happening. Like it keeps staying open-ended and that something is just not completing. It's like this never-ending cycle that you feel like you can't get to the next level because the first level, like you just can't complete it with them. So I'm getting that like really circular energy. And you could just be like, this isn't how I wanted it to go. Like, we should have even accomplished this by now. And then also you can feel like this is really getting to you now at this point. Because you can even perceive yourself as having like strong willpower and like asserting what you want. And you could feel a bit beaten down having strength in reverse at this point. Where like you may not be feeling strong right now. But I do feel though like having this judgment reversed can be that you're making you're making a snap judgment here, like you're being too harsh or too critical, and there can be a lack of acceptance as well. And that can be part of what's not allowing things to heal in the way that they're meant to. I will say this too, you could also feel disappointed because you feel like this other person isn't showing up how you want them to show up, if I didn't say that already. You feel like you need to make a choice. Judgment reversed here, there may be like a different approach that's more helpful for you, like looking into this and understanding it. And it feels like bringing the attention actually to you and like what's going on and like what do you need to heal? Like what's going on within your heart space and taking a look at that and being like, what is my pursuit of happiness? Like what's going to make me happy? What do I feel would be fulfilling for me to pursue? Because it feels like this is causing maybe some distress that you're feeling at this point, and you could feel like it's very far away from your pursuit of happiness. Like you're really not feeling fulfilled. But there may be something that needs to be even seen or admitted to. I do feel though that like softening your judgment is going to be helpful. This can also be self-judgment too that you're perceiving. When you are away, sort of reflecting on your 10 of Cups, which is like, when I think about where I want to be and what that would look like ideally, like what does that picture look like when I envision that? And having King of Swords here, it feels like this may be something that you communicate, this may be something that you voice, I imagine, with this person. Because maybe you haven't been communicating something that needs to be communicated because you haven't been like in touch with that part of yourself. So it looks like the most practical thing that can be done here is you taking this time to envision sort of like what you want, especially on an internal level, enough to be able to articulate that, and then you need to make the advancement and communicate that with this person and see what's going on. But some of you may be avoiding this because it may mean that something doesn't align potentially, but you also don't know if that's definitely going to be the case, is what I'm seeing. Some of you feel like you've already like made a judgment about this, and it may not be how it's actually going to be. But this is you needing to be courageous and also stop keeping this to yourself. So it's time to like reflect on what you're envisioning when you think about like, where do I see myself? Where would I be happy to see myself? What does that look like? Spend time reflecting on that. Communicate that with this person. I'm seeing it be very, very important to this situation that you have going on with them, where you may feel like you're kind of stuck at this point. And then see what happens. That's the advice. But I'm definitely getting that you may be keeping things to yourself that are actually meant to be communicated with this person. It's like stuff that needs to be brought into sort of the mutual space, because things are going to move in a way that you may feel like it's kind of stuck right now, okay? I'm hearing Cancer. Some of you may have Cancer placements. For those of you that do have prominent Cancer placements, there can sometimes be a behavior that is like indirect. When it's in its shadow, it can be indirect and it can be a bit passive aggressive. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And like also avoiding talking about things, like just having a lot of feelings and then not expressing them and then like blowing up because it becomes too much. So the person that you're dealing with can also have Cancer placements too, if that's not you. That can be something. So we're seeing Moon and Uranus together. This can be something spontaneously happening too on an emotional front as well. Virgo, I'm hearing Taurus and Gemini, and I'm seeing Leo, Pluto and Saturn. Okay, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.